the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Dr. LMadu, and the topic is the Republic of South Sudan a year after independence. And Dr. Madu, I might add that this is a very, very grim story in reference to some of the things that people have hoped for such a long time, that is to have independence in South Sudan. But go on, let's talk about what happened to the money, all of this money.
That's correct. Now, you can already see the effect of that 4 billion on the budget. It doesn't take a fool to realize that. 2 billion last year, 6.4 billion this year. So that tells you a whole lot there.
A lot of money's gone.
Exactly, a lot of money is gone there. And that $4 billion, can you imagine what it could do? It can turn the whole South Sudan into heaven. In a few months, it can build the whole schools the state needs. It can build the whole hospitals the state needs. It can hire the whole doctors the state needs. It can build the best roads the state needs. But then it has been siphoned off by 75 individuals known to the government. That's the funny thing here. Okay, known to the government. And like you said, where does that money go to? That money ends up in foreign banks, not in the domestic bank in their own countries. Most of the time, because the money is stolen, they don't keep it there in case they're out of government or they're overthrown or something happens. People don't get their hands on it. So that money ends up in foreign banks. A few years ago, about 7 years ago or so, the president of Equatorial Guinea, Obiang, was found to have almost $500 million at Riggs Bank under his own signature.
Okay. $500 million.
Yeah, himself.
$500 million.
That's correct.
That over his signature
that's
that
right.
he could touch in a real sense.
Exactly, whenever he wants to. At Riggs Bank, that's part of the problem why Riggs Bank got in trouble when FBI and they started investigating it. Yeah, that's part of Riggs' problem why he got shut down and all this. Yeah, that kind of thing. That's exactly happened. They put it in the bank here, Chase Manhattan, you name it, or Barclays in London or Paris. And who is benefiting from it? The people where that money is put, okay? The banks are getting what? Interest.
Interest, yes,
okay,
certainly.
Hold that. And the bank can loan out that money to their own people in their own country, instead of the country where the money comes from. See, that's the big problem with all that money being siphoned, away from Africa.
It's the people's money that's sent somewhere else to
benefit other people.
Other folks.
Yes, not the people who own the money.
It's like my mother used to say, called fattening frogs for snakes. In a real sense, they're using the money that belonged to the people and stealing it, sending it off somewhere else to gain interest, and not even allowing the people where the money is taken from to even borrow that money.
That's correct.
See, and so the people where the money is taken from have absolutely nothing. There's no possibility of the money, no interest. They can't even borrow because the money is not. Is that the financial situation that the Republic of South Sudan finds itself in now?
Absolutely. Now, if you think about it in that way, if this $4 billion they stole, suppose it had been used to start small banks in all the rural areas to give money to aspiring farmers, okay? That would do a lot of good. But they won't think that way. They'll put it outside. Now, even some worth mentioning, a country of just 9 million people that just been independent for a year has about 55 ministers.
55 ministers?
Yeah, just think of the United States having 55 secretaries, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, 55, exactly, of 9.5 million people. So have about 55 ministers. Now, all these ministers have to be paid. Some of them will have 3, 4, 5 cars and vans to themselves, mansions here and there. Okay, think how much that takes. Some people have started crying about it now. The government has started saying they're going to cut it down. Of course they should. They should. They don't need that many ministers to run a small country. Okay? But everybody, every ethnic group want a minister for themselves so that somebody can steal for them. That's the idea. It's not that they're going to go in there and, develop the place. No, so that somebody from my village can steal, bring back,
So this is what you meant when you talked about ethnic governance in reference, and so it's having a real impact.
That's correct.
On South Sudan.
That's correct.
Each group believes that it has its own representatives.
That's correct. It has to have a minister there to be represented, not knowing that that's not the way You know, that's not the way to do it. This is a small country, just 8.7 million. You don't need 55 ministers, you know, to be running anything. You just need a few ministers for the key departments and merge other departments, you know, if you need to, as an austerity measure that's going on now. That's what they need to be doing. Everybody understands if 55 ministers are a big drain on the budget, because like I tell you, it's not like you have a commissioner here or secretary, you know, he has his own car, like our own secretary, you have your own car. But over there, the government buys the cars, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for one person who is a minister. Okay, plus the mansion they will be building for themselves, 1 or 2, 1 in the village, 1 in the city, from government money, not their own money. Okay, all this this thing on the budget. Now the army, half of the army. Okay, now this $6.4 billion in budget